As a vehicle enthusiast, you know how important it is to maintain your car to keep it healthy and running smoothly. Well, QuickJack is no different. So, what do you need to know about your QuickJack's maintenance? Let's check it out. A 10 hut! Just kidding. Welcome to this week's Quick Tip. Today we're covering part 1 of the regular maintenance required on your QuickJack. We've touched on this subject in the past, and now we'll take a closer, more serious look on how it's done. You can follow along with your QuickJack manual, which has all this information already. And as always, you can find the latest manual online. Today we're just going over what needs to be done every time before lifting your vehicle with your QuickJack. Think of it as kind of a pre-flight or pre-race or pre-whatever your hobbies may be inspection. First and foremost, the obvious one, make sure your QuickJack is clean. Remember, dust and debris are the enemies here. Check the ends of your hydraulic fitting to make sure there isn't any accumulation of gunk. Any contaminants that exist in the fittings could potentially work their way into the hydraulic system and cause problems for you down the road. Things like leaking fittings or even clogging the internal components of the power unit, neither of which are good things. This is why we provide dust caps with your kit to be used whenever the fittings are disconnected. It's also important to keep the frames themselves clean. Make sure to give them a complete wipe down with a rag. It may sound trivial, but it makes it much easier to spot any potential problem areas, like small leaks or damage to the frame. Also, make sure to wipe down the lock bars and the lock track. It's important to make sure the track is clear of any little rocks or really anything that can interfere with the locks properly engaging. And speaking of locks, next on the list we ask that you inspect the locks. Anything can become worn over time, especially with frequent use. So make sure the lock bar, locks, and release cams are in good shape. This means there should be no visible damage and the cams have enough play to properly engage or disengage the lock bar. If your lock bar seems to be getting stuck and not traveling along the track, you may need to loosen it. We have another quick tip on that linked below. The third thing to do is inspect all of the moving parts. To do this, check all the hinge points and around the hydraulic cylinder for any debris accumulation or damage. Basically, anything that may prevent the frames from raising or lowering normally. Lastly, you'll also need to inspect the lift blocks. The blocks can be damaged or worn from excessive use and will eventually need to be replaced. Signs of use are normal, but if you find large tears in the blocks, they're warped in their shape, or they're just falling apart and no longer square, it's time to throw those out and replace them. Definitely don't lift on damaged blocks. These should all be part of your daily routine when using QuickJack and really shouldn't take any longer than a few minutes. Next time, we're going to go over your weekly and monthly routines, which include how to check your air cylinders, proper lubrication, and information on the hydraulic fluid. So be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. We'll see you next time.